The Michael Waddell Podcast is presented by Spandau Arms in partnership with Folds of Honor and Cigars International. Be sure to like and subscribe anywhere you get your podcasts.
Well, welcome everybody to the Michael Waddell Podcast, whether you're watching, whether you're listening. I'm so excited, and we don't do this much, but before we get our guest in who's about to sit down with us, I want to introduce who it is. It's Jeff Foxworthy. Now, if you are somebody that's known anything or ever decided to watch a show and laugh, then you know who Jeff Foxworthy is. But behind the scenes, what a lot of people don't realize is how down-to-earth, humble, kind, and somebody that killed his ego a long time ago, maybe never even had one. I'm so excited to sit down and talk to Jeff. A lot of history together. I've been very blessed to share a lot of hunting camps with him. But if you look back on Jeff's career, whether you might be a redneck joke, or you look back at the blue-collar comedy tour that he did with so many different other comedians that was just legendary, whether it's his TV show, The Jeff Foxworthy Show, or Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? There's so much cool bodies of work that he's encompassed. But what you find when you sit down and talk to Jeff is how down to earth. He's not a guy you find at the Grammy after show or the CMA after show. He's somebody that typically by the time that goes down, he's back home with his family getting ready to take his kids to school. A grounded guy who's always been amazing to me and amazing to everybody he meets. And if you have an opportunity, his brand new special is just coming out on Fox Nation. It's called The Joke's on Me, and he is as more proud of this particular body of work than anything. So be sure to tune in and find Jeff's new special. But right now, we got Jeff Foxworthy coming to the studio. How many men have we put our scope on? Like, hey, I saw you, Uncle Raymond.
You know, that was one of the first redneck jokes I ever wrote, was if you've ever watched a game warden through a scope. You know, 'cause you see somebody walking around the field and you're looking through your scope like, oh, hell, that's the game warden.
I know everybody listening to this just chuckle because every man past 50 has done that.
Has done that.
And looked at their buddies. Well, Jeff Foxworthy, thank you for coming, buddy. I've said this so many times. You were the first person I met that, man, I was intimidated to meet because I was such a big fan. I was. But then within 5 minutes of meeting you, I was like, man, this guy is like we felt, what's that old saying? Felt like we went to different high schools together, or felt like my long lost brother. And we laughed. And through those early years when I was back doing camera work and working at Realtree,
You were a kid.
I was a kid.
I didn't realize it then, but I look back and go, dang, he was just a kid. You know, because you're talking mid-90s, so that was 30 years ago. So you were, what?
I had to
24, 25.
24, 25.
Yeah.
So that would have made you, what's funny is.
I was 40, you know.
Yeah, late 30s, 40 maybe.
Yeah.
And what was cool about it, Jay and Swinehart, some of your friends, your brother Jay, it was so refreshing because here it was guys I looked up to and obviously had bought your albums and laughed and the redneck jokes. But then I'm like, man, this dude, I felt like we were I was a kid, but y'all were, in my mind, you know, in your 30s or 40s. And it was like we was all 12-year-olds in camp.
Oh, well, but isn't that what hunting's supposed to be?
I think so.
I think within every man that one of the coolest things you can do is find that 10-year-old boy in you.
Yes.
Whether it's hunting, fishing, looking for arrowheads, there's something about that 10-year-old boy. We spend the rest of our life chasing that feeling, you know. And it should be fun. And if it ain't fun, you need to quit doing it. I don't care what it is. But that's why we all got into it, because it was fun, right?
100%.
Yeah.
It's just fun. And y'all, I'd always go to these camps. In the hunting industry, things kind of get oddly serious. I don't know if it's the sword fight.
It gets competitive.
It's competitive. And I never felt that when I knew we were going to hunt and like, hey, man, you know, you and David had become buddies. And I remember the first time David's like, hey, man, you ain't going to believe it. I've been talking to Jeff Foxworthy. He's going to go hunting. And I know you had been on a crazy run of insanity.
I had 8 years in a row. I did at least 500 shows.
And you was doing the Jeff Foxworthy show, the TV show at the time too, wasn't you?
So I never got to hunt, never got to fish. I mean, I grew up hunting and fishing all the time. And then I got so busy I didn't get to do it. And I remember somebody sent me a Realtree tape, and VHS, of course, and we had a little bitty TV with a VHS player in it in the kitchen, and I put that tape in. My wife and I were making dinner, and I didn't even know there was hunting shows, and they were showing these deer that were bigger than anything I'd ever seen in my life. And as they're doing it, my wife goes, "Well, they're not going to show it being shot, are they?" And I said, "No, they ain't going to." And I was like, "Oh my
Greg
word!"
about passed out.
Yeah, I didn't know this was a thing, and then I was addicted to it.
Like, that's cool, man.
Yeah, we never thought about filming a hunt. First climbing stand I ever had, me and my uncle made it in his garage out of lawnmower blades, for the climbing in.
It's a wonder we're alive. Some of the contraptions.
Oh my God! I remember the first time I tried it. I was up in Cave Spring by Rome, Georgia, and climbed a pine tree. Got all the way to the top, and you pulled up the bottom. We had made little ropes you put your feet in, and I got up there at the top and I pulled my feet out of the ropes, and that bottom part went all the way down the tree, and now I'm mashed up in the top part. And I sat like that for 3 hours waiting on my uncle to come back.
I can't get down.
I can't get down.
I'm going to hunt up here forever.
Well, you didn't have a phone. You didn't have nothing. You're just sitting there for 3 hours waiting on him to come back. So.
It was, what was bad about that? Even the commercially built climbing stands were dangerous. But guess what? Speaking of might be a redneck, you'd look at the first baker stand and you'd have an uncle like, man, I can build one of them. Like I said, lawnmower blades.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's the way my uncle was. I ain't paying for one of them.
Why you pay $90 for that?
I got lawnmower blades in the basement,
So you made something that was already dangerous.
Yeah.
Even more dangerous.
No harness, nothing safety related. Heck, as a kid, we'd go by construction sites and take the thrown out lumber and then go down with them, do them big railroad spikes, climbing the tree.
Yes.
And get up there with 2x4s, and you never checked it between seasons.
No.
And so I remember climbing, and then, something would break off in your hand, going
have one piece of treated wood, the other be non-treated.
No
rotten
safety harness, nothing.
And you remember back then too, you didn't think you could get a deer unless you was at least 30 foot.
You had to be up there.
How did we even build those stands? If you think about it, just building them.
Well, and I don't know about you, I didn't know nothing about what I was doing. I never thought about the wind.
Never.
I never thought about bedding areas or feeding areas, or you just go through the woods and go, that's a good tree.
Looks like a good spot.
That's a good tree.
That's a good tree.
That's a good tree. Let's put a stand in it.
And go over there. And it was almost like you were building the forts when we were kids down by
like
the creek.
a tree house.
But we decided to put it 30 foot up a tree and be a good place in a tree to sit and look for a deer.
Yeah.
God. But wasn't that
you
fun?
look back and go, how did we ever shoot anything?
I don't even know, because you're right. Nobody. You might have 10 people meet up somewhere and like, where are you going, Jeff? Going here. I think if you go in there, I'll go there. No trail cameras, all homemade stands. Nobody once said, hey,
half the people
which way's the wind blowing?
Sweatshirts and blue jeans.
Yep. Maybe a flannel. At best, some coveralls that you bought at Kmart.
Coveralls, yeah.
Coveralls.
I remember when I got a pair of camo cover, and it was that original
camo, World War II looking camo.
World War II looking camo.
Black sheep or walls or something, yeah.
Scent, you'd wear the same coveralls for eat bacon and then go climb the tree.
I loved it. You're gonna laugh, and I'm definitely. I wish I'd have brought them. I'll bring you a set because I want to make sure to bring you and Glenn a pair. Believe it or not, we had a talk with Walmart a while back, and we were talking about those. We was laughing like this, and so I remember the buyer there said, do you think coveralls would sell now? I said, and it hit me. I'm like, I never thought of it. And I said, can you make me a pair? He said, do you think you can make me a pair of bone collector coveralls that we can sell? So we got we brought them back and we made, and I got to thinking, I would love that because you can still, and all I did was change a little bit where you could bow hunt out of them.
Yeah.
And I thought that would be fun because you remember we'd walk, you'd have your blue jeans on, some Texas steer.
And you'd slip them coveralls over everything.
Because we didn't worry about the wind, but you didn't drive because you was going to run every deer.
Yeah.
No flashlights.
Yeah.
and you'd walk to the base stand like, hey, Jeff, here you go.
Yeah.
And then I'd walk on past you. But
Yeah.
then when I'd leave, you'd be sitting there putting on your coveralls because it's going to be cold. But you'd walk in your street clothes, them coveralls, you could go to Antarctica. Felt like you could be protected.
You did have to learn to poop in the woods with them, though.
Because, that was tricky.
Because, if you just unzip the top and let them down, everybody knows somebody in their camp that had pooped in their coveralls.
You'd have crap on your back.
Yeah, because they'd only unzip them.
Peel their collar.
That was a learning curve on that.
It's funny. Already like just reminiscing on those days. And now, I mean, you and I, like I'm sitting here looking at these pictures, we have been on some of the coolest adventures. We've videoed, we've done all these things. Now, obviously, and I'm sure we'll talk about it, how technical we approach our hunts and what we do for feed and staging and bedding and sanctuaries, and whether it's feeding protein to make sure the deer. Yeah. But now I look back and I certainly enjoy where I'm at in hunting. But when I reminisce, those were still to me magical times.
Yeah.
Can't even explain it. Like, and a lot of people enter the space now. Their first hunts are, it is, you're looking for a 5.5, 6.5-year-old buck. You're technical, looking at moon phases. You got your.
Dude, I was looking for that much horn above the hair.
That's it. Or hear a crunch and like praying it was a deer. Yeah. Like just a deer. And remember in Georgia, we didn't have doe days. You'd have a doe day, but even if you had a doe day, it was sacrilegious to shoot a doe.
Dude, no, nobody shot does.
Nobody.
Not any man worth his man card.
Yeah.
I remember I could take you right now to the first spot I ever saw a deer track. I remember seeing my first deer track. I'm like, holy cow, there's deer here.
I know that's a deer track.
And I hunted for 2 years before I saw a deer. I mean, not like passed them up. I never saw a deer. And I look back and go, why did I keep going? And the first deer I ever saw, somebody was doing a drive and I saw a doe a long way off running.
Just a flash
through the woods. And I'm like, I saw a deer.
And you coming back and like, dude, I saw one.
I saw one.
Or remember those days too?
There just weren't any.
Yeah, you remember when you first went and you're sitting up there and you went several times and you and your buddies or maybe your brother, uncle, and then you're sitting there and you hadn't seen much, not really expecting, no video games, no phones to fill your space, just sit there and thought, and then all of a sudden you're boom, and you're like, I think that was Jay.
Somebody shot.
And then it was, and you was like, we might have got one. Like it wasn't
it wasn't a me, you were just as excited if they had done it as if you had done it.
I think we might have got one.
Yeah.
And you was trying to replay the shot. Did it sound like it hit something? Or then maybe
the first buck I ever shot, he was a 5-pointer and maybe this big.
Yeah.
But I remember this is I'm sitting in one of them homemade nailed 2x4s in the tree, and I see something move on the little dirt road below me. And my first thought was, there's no way it's a deer. That was a squirrel. And then it moved a little bit more. And then I went, oh, crap, that's a deer.
Did you get goosebumps? Like you saw Bigfoot or something?
This is a deer that's close to me. And I ended up shooting him. Like I said, he was that big.
Do you remember when
rode him around town all day long with him hanging out the tailgate? So people, it could have just as well been the state record.
Oh,
couldn't
every
have
bit
been
as
any
happy.
prouder of him.
There's no way you shot. You shot some giant place on your giant deer with your bow. But that was deer.
I cut his horns off, and they sat next to my bed for years. Sometimes they're about that tall. Sometimes I just pick them up and that's a buck, y'all.
Greg, you might want to slide us that Victoria's Secrets, baby. Yeah. Look at here. You remember that?
You living with a bad man right here.
You living with a bad man, boy. You think Yellowstone, you think rip somebody. Look at this. You remember too? You know what was funny? As I know exactly the feeling when you're trying to identify this deer, nobody had a pair of binoculars. No. Your scope was your binocular. You remember you'd see something move and you start looking, trying to identify if it's a squirrel. And I can almost be there with you when you're looking like, okay, it's a deer. Then all of a sudden it goes to his head and you see this rack. It's just like, it was like a ghost appeared.
Yeah.
And now, click. I mean, it's time to shoot.
And all you had to verify was it had horns.
It had to be a male.
It had horns. And then it didn't matter whether they were that long or what you were going to shoot.
Oh, yeah. And I remember thinking, because back then, the print media, like you get North American Whitetail, or actually back before that, it was because David Morris, this was before North American Whitetail.
Dude, I remember
Field
growing
and
up
Stream,
on
maybe?
Field and Stream,
Outdoor Life.
Sports of Field, and Outdoor Life. Yeah.
And you'd see the pictures of these deer. And even back then, you remember, I wished I had some of those. Even the deer they showed wasn't that big. It was 100.
Well, it was all relative.
Yes.
If you had only seen spikes,
100
basket 8 was big.
Yes. And you're right. Going back, it was, didn't David Morris, he created North American Whitetail?
That's the first really whitetail magazine. But, dude, I wouldn't throw away a copy of North American Whitetail.
No.
I kept them.
No, they were all stacked on the back of our commodes.
Yeah.
I mean, you
ain't getting rid of a North American Whitetail.
you would make yourself have a bowel movement just so you could go.
Sit in there and read the same story for the 8th time.
Remember Dick Idle and Morris was the first one. Like, man, I hate these guys. Look at these giant deer they're shooting, and I'm just like, I want one of them.
Oh yeah.
But then I'd go to stand and first 6-pointer walk up. I'm just as excited.
Yeah.
Ride them around. Forever.
I shot a basket rack 8 that was that big. That.
It's a good one. In your mind, then for that time, it's a good deer.
He was probably 110-inch deer. I still have him. I had him remounted.
Did you really?
Because I just remember how I felt about that deer.
Yeah.
I'm like, none I've ever shot since made me any happier than that one in that moment,
Yeah. Do you ever think now, do you ever get like over there at Manland that you call your place and Glenn and all the boys are hanging out and you're thinking, and then you go and you're thinking about a deer you let walk, which obviously now, even in our area, our deer have gotten amazing. It's one of the better places to hunt in Georgia. But then you think back to that time and you're like, man, is this right? Is this wrong? Where are we at? And I feel leaning toward that we're in the right place, but I can't find any more necessarily joy in it than I did even then. But I still know we're doing the right thing. The food plots, the maturity, but I catch myself thinking that. Do you ever think that?
I think when we were kids, there was no thought of numbers or protecting the herd or letting things walk. It was just a deer.
Right.
But I will tell you this. I don't know how many deer I've seen in my life. 20,000.
Easy, I would say, yeah.
But if I'm riding around my farm and 2 does run across the road, I still get excited.
Like, look at that.
And they still make my heart beat. I just think I've learned how to take care of them a little bit better.
Yeah.
Over the years. But as far as joy, like I said, that little basket rack 8, 180-inch deer wouldn't bring me any more joy than that deer did at the time.
At the time.
Yeah.
I have to always remind myself when, especially going to a lot of the big buck shows, I have to remind myself of what it was like when my dad would say, hey, just so you know, I got us a hotel room. I got us a little old Motel 6. We're going up there and meet up with Uncle Borger. We're going to go walk around the Buckarama. And I have to remember.
How excited you were.
Man, it was more special than if he'd have said going to Disney World.
Yes.
And give me a $20 bill or something and walk around trying to negotiate to get a grunt. I didn't even know what a deer sound. I didn't know what deer grunted back then. But you go and buy you a bottle of Tink 69, a grunt call, look over there. Maybe it was a Ted Nugent, a Noel Feather. Maybe it was David Morris was doing a seminar or something. And I was just like, I had goosebumps. And I remind myself sometimes, I took my kids the other day, Mason, who's now working here. We went over to Birmingham at the World Deer Expo, and I had to work. I was doing some stuff with Chevrolet, and I said, man, can y'all do me a favor? I said, Mason and McCoy, he's 19 now, and Waylon, my youngest, had just turned 10. I said, I want y'all to leave here and just walk around and go find a shark tooth necklace or something, find an old deal on a pocket knife, go throw a dart, bust a balloon, B-boys. And they said that was the funnest they'd ever had. Because normally, you go, it's kind of like your kids going to a show.
They got to wait on you to finish talking to somebody.
Yes.
And yeah.
We're going to stop for a quick break, but please don't go anywhere. We got so much to come.
Spandau Arms was founded with a simple idea. The best part of hunting isn't the gear, it's the memories. From the first rooster rise of the season in the tall grass to the last second opportunity on the target buck as sunset closes in. Spandau believes firearms should be built to perform, priced to be accessible, and designed to become an essential piece of your hunting story. Their lineup includes field-ready shotguns and precision-driven rifles built for hunters, competitors, and recreational shooters who know that quality and dependability matter more than the hype. Born from the experience of American hunters and crafted by generations of gunmakers, each Spandau firearm is built for real-world performance in the moments that matter.
If you love a good stogie like I do, look no further than cigarsinternational.com. They got you covered from soup to nuts. No matter what brand of cigar you're looking for, no matter what accessories you're looking for, if you log into cigarsinternational.com/Waddell, you're also going to receive immediately a 20% discount on your order. And the cool thing about it, there's no limits, there's no minimums. You just simply order, shop, put in your discount code, which is Waddell, and you're going to get 20% off and free shipping. No matter if you're looking for humidors or any of your accessories, no matter where you want to have a good stogie, around a campfire or around the ranch, you got it all right there at cigarsinternational.com. And don't forget to add /Waddell for your 20% discount and free shipping. Even early on now, I've noticed I've been blessed to go see a lot of your shows, and it's so nice because oh man, got places, or to talk to Glenn, you got a ticket at Will Call and you go, and most time you get to do what everybody would dream of, go back there and say hey to you, and and maybe have a piece of pizza or Kentucky Fried Chicken with you at the end of the show, or whatever.
Probably, yeah.
And so many times I've done this quite a few times lately to where you didn't even know it. I've been to a couple shows that you didn't even know I was there. But to take my kids in that experience of getting in the parking lot to go either see a comedy show or go see a good country show and buy a ticket and walk in and everybody's talking and go get a pretzel and looking back, hunting's the same way. I think so many times you can miss the magic of what a good concert is, what a good hunt is, and or a good hunting show. Like you couldn't walk around the Buckarama now because everybody would walk up and shake your hand, and obviously next thing you know, it's a meet.
I mean, they're nice, but you don't get to look at
You don't get to go over there and negotiate for the antler-handled custom knife like you did when you was...
Well, you don't even get to look at anything because you're taking pictures. But, I mean, and I'm an old dude now, but I really think we're all chasing that 10-year-old boy,
Yes.
That 10-year-old boy had fun. That 10-year-old boy, crap, I remember leaving the house. One of you have a 22, one of you'd have a 20 gauge, and just go walking through the woods, and had no idea what you were doing. We had no idea what we were doing deer hunting, but we had a blast. It was, you'd get up, I'd go weekend after weekend without seeing a deer. And by Tuesday, I'm like, I'm going next weekend. I'm going,
And I ain't even seen nothing, really.
Yeah. But you also, you learned about yourself. I read an article that was saying what we learned through all that was we learned self-sufficiency. We learned how to cross a creek. We learned how to build a deer stand. We learned to work together to do things like that. We learned not to panic if we got lost. How many times do you get lost walking?
All the time.
All the time. Because there was no GPS.
No.
There was no, and eventually you'd come out on a road and you go, oh, I think I know where we are. But it was good for us. We learned about our capabilities and about the benefit of friendships when we were out doing those things.
100% you did.
Yeah.
And it was, I don't remember any competition. I remember I felt like the group would be competing. If you had 3 or 4 buddies, we were competing together to get a deer, but it wasn't like, oh man, I heard Jeff shoot. Man, I hope he didn't
But you
get
were super excited.
super excited.
You couldn't wait to get down to go check.
Yeah, and there was no text, or maybe later in the 80s if you could afford some Motorola radios, but even then nobody had them.
We didn't have those.
Nope.
Yeah.
Texas deer, some coveralls, 3x9 Bushnell was your scope.
Yeah.
I mean, and binoculars.
It was your scope.
All of us.
I never had binoculars.
And how many men have we put our scope on? Like, hey, I saw you, Uncle Raymond.
You know, that was one of the first redneck jokes I ever wrote. Was if you've ever watched a game warden through a scope, you see somebody walking around the field and you're looking through your scope like, oh hell, that's the game warden.
I know everybody listening to this just chuckle because every man past 50 has done that. And looked at their buddies.
Well, on their 742 with the over-under mounts where you could use the iron sights or the scope. You remember the over-under mounts? Yeah.
Aluminum quick sights.
I still have
quickie sights or something.
I still have my 308.
With the over and under?
742 with the and I refuse to take the over and under off of it.
I've got a 30-06 still set up the same way.
And you took multiple clips with you.
You would have a box and multiple.
Dude, I would not go to the woods without a second clip, you know.
You remember the first time you ever saw one of those 10-round clips you could put in the 742?
No.
And I thought, man.
That's what rich people have.
Or they had a Brown and BAR, like a Brown and automatic.
Yeah.
Dude's like, man, this guy's a lawyer, man. He must be a doctor or something.
Yeah.
Like, who's this guy?
Yeah, who's got that kind of money?
With gold trigger? Are you kidding? Got an engraving on the stock? Like, what are we doing?
We never had engraving on
No.
anything. No.
742. I don't know how many deer have been shot with those 742 Woodmasters.
That was a good little gun, man.
Dude, 308, 30-06. Some people have 243.
Yeah.
And looking back, I
30-30s.
Oh, 30. Yes, I had a
That was my first deer gun, was a 30-30. And I had the Marlin, which kicked out the top.
That's right.
Yeah. No, the Marlin kicked out the side.
It kicked out the side.
So you could put a scope on it.
The Winchester kicked out the top.
So you couldn't put a scope.
It was all iron sights.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, my dad's first deer rifle was an old Winchester like that. And this year with iron sights, he gave it to me and he said, just keep this gun, keep it up. And I've got a couple
I kind of want to shoot a deer with a 30.
I did this year. I shot one of my best bucks on my farm with that iron sights.
Did you
this
really?
year? Like a 145-inch 9-point. I've been hunting with my bow, couldn't catch up, and it got late in the season. And
but you shot him with iron sights.
I shot him with that 30-30
How
iron
fun.
sights. He was like 50 yards, and I videoed myself. I went over, and it was like around the holidays. And dude, I felt like I just put a good arrow on this deer. I was so excited, and it come to hit me. Since I was a kid, I'd never shot a deer with iron sights. And I was nervous. And it was right at dark, and I had a hard time seeing my sights, and I was shaking. It was like a whole new venture for me, and I don't know how many deer I've shot with a bow. I mean, and I was just as excited.
We forget, it's kind of like once you fly first class, you don't want to go back to coach anymore.
No, you don't.
But yeah, like a few weeks ago, my daughter's air conditioning went out, and my wife's acting like they're going to die because they got to spend the night in the house without air conditioning.
Like might not make it.
Then it dawned on me. I said, we didn't have air conditioning till I was 16 years old.
Right.
We never had air conditioning in the summertime. You had your fans blowing that hot air
Box
around.
fan in a window.
Yeah, box fan in a window.
Same with me.
Man, I had a happy childhood, so.
It's funny how those things, it certainly didn't have any Wi-Fi, cell phone, one landline that the whole neighborhood could eavesdrop on the party line.
Oh,
remember, if it rang once, it was a Foxworthy's. Twice, it was your uncle.
Yeah.
Bring, it'd be your uncle's. But you could, if you picked up.
But you could be talking on the phone and then you'd hear somebody, like listening in on your call. Because you could listen to everybody's calls if you picked up the phone quiet enough.
You could, if you picked it up, like, oh man.
And my kids laugh and they go, "Oh, you're trying to tell how tough it was." It's like, no, and I had a great childhood. We just never had air conditioning.
I didn't think it was tough. I never thought, you know what I'm saying?
It was what it was, right?
You didn't know. And even now, me same way. I didn't, I'm a little younger than you. It feels like I never even thought of us being separate in age just because of the fun we've had. But same here, we lived out what we call Booger Bottom, and you've met all my family. And until I got an apartment, started working full time in Columbus, that was the first time I had air conditioning all the time. Now, I remember my dad bought a window unit and put in his bedroom, and after my mother passed away.
Which was about that big.
And you turn that sucker on, and man, it was like...
Would you go in there and stand in front of it?
All the time.
Yes.
All the time. And even that started kind of ruining me, because now I got to where I couldn't go sleep in my room. Like, Dad, can I make a pallet?
Hot.
I mean, I was 18, 19 years of age. I'm like, Dad, can I get a pallet? Yeah. Build a pallet in your room? Which is funny. That's pretty redneck. I've never called putting blankets on the floor. I've always called them a pallet. I wonder where that... I don't even know where that comes from.
That's what I call it.
Me too. I don't know what the other words.
When y'all made ice cream at home, did you...
The churn with rock salt?
You had to turn it, and you were a kid, and your arm would get tired, so you'd tag out and let your cousin come in and turn a
yes,
while.
And that was the kid's job.
Pour that rock salt in there when it got locked up.
When it started getting stiff, you knew it was ready to eat.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That was some good ice cream, too.
And again... I didn't think that was tough. I just knew we had homemade ice cream. Mama done made us.
It didn't matter.
And you'd have some fresh peaches, and you'd cut them up in there. And Mama make peach ice cream. You'd churn that thing. You always smell something grilling, hot dogs or hamburgers, and be over to public swimming pool or something.
I never knew growing up that we didn't have much money.
I'm the same. Didn't dawn on me.
No.
Didn't even. And life was amazing. I never thought of it as hard. I remember my dad working me pretty hard and thinking this is hard, but I don't think life was hard.
But all your friends were doing the same thing, so it wasn't a big deal, right?
Yeah.
You had to cut the grass. You had to do, you had to chip in and help.
Yeah.
Well, you wasn't paying nobody $2 to cut your grass.
Nobody had lawn service. I don't remember a lawn.
Are you kidding?
The only lawn service.
Nobody had a lawn. How about that?
No. They wasn't worried about my zoysia or I got some weeds in it. I mean, if you had something green, like, look at that, man, it's pretty.
And it didn't matter. Moss, crabgrass,
A little bit of clover.
Yeah, a little bit of clover.
You was happy.
Our landscaping, we had concrete blocks down the side of the driveway with monkey grass growing out of them. That was our landscape. That was making it look nice.
Rich. Matter of fact, I think that's what made, you could tell, I mean, when you first started coming on the scene, I remember I was like laughing, but I'm thinking, is Jeff, Dad, I think Jeff is he got a house across the street from us? Or like what's funny, if you did have an opportunity and you bought a bass boat or something, you parked that sucker, you wanted people to see that boat.
Oh, yeah. It was in your front yard.
It was in your front.
In the backyard. No, ours was my granddaddy had a John boat.
Yeah.
With a little trolling motor. But just like people would always ask me back then, they're like, where you come up with all them redneck jokes? I said, there's no research going on. I can go through the book and tell you, my granddaddy, my Uncle Bob, my brother, my mom. I mean,
everybody had a TV on another TV.
I remember one Thanksgiving, ran out of serving room. She went and pulled the ironing board out and used it as a buffet table, So you go around the kitchen, well, the green beans are on the ironing board over there.
Put a blanket over.
Just to make it look nice.
And there's not a family I know in the 70s and 80s that didn't have a console TV with another TV on it.
That was my joke. If your working television sits on top of your non-working television.
Yeah.
Because my grandmother and granddaddy had a console and it died. And they went and bought another TV and they put it on top of the console. And I remember saying to my granddad, I said, well, Granddaddy, why don't you get rid of the console? And his answer was, well, that's good wood.
That's good. Remember, you'd have little pictures around it, and they're like, they call them the dollies, or where your grandmama and crochet.
Doilies. The
doilies. Yeah, you'd have them all purdied up and stuff, and oh God.
And my grandma would crochet, and she'd make the little poodle dogs that went over the spare roll of toilet paper on the back of
You had to unwrap, pull the poodle dog off the
toilet paper to get a new roll. Yeah.
I wonder, like I said, this part of that is like so many people have lived that. I mean, I would say majority. I have, and it's.
Do you remember when it was a big deal when they made the piece of carpet that was it had a cutout in it like the base of a toilet, so you could put it and you could have your feet on some carpet while you sat on the toilet. I mean, it was about that big. And then you look back and go, shag carpet next to the toilet may be the most unsanitary thing in the entire world.
And your back of your whole commode was wrapped in shag. Remember even the
you could get the
everything smelled like piss. And you'd be oh my God. That is
you know that rug smelled like piss.
And then when you really made it, you got that, you started taking the hard ceramic commode seat and you got them ones with the foam, and they'd always kind of crack and cut your butt if you wasn't careful.
Oh, yeah.
But you'd sit on it like, man, these guys.
When you had that little Naugahyde toilet seat.
Oh,
yes.
I remember sitting and my uncle got one of them things. And I'm like, Uncle Morgan. And
you'd go over to the house just to poop so you could sit on it.
Yeah. My Uncle Donis got one of them suckers, first one I remember, and he had got hurt on the railroad and he sued him, and he probably back in and got a couple $100,000. And I remember he got a satellite TV, and I remember I'd want over there and take a crap because he had one of them soft commode seats.
Yeah, it had like cotton in it or something.
Or
with
foam.
it wasn't even Naugahyde, it was like vinyl.
Vinyl.
It was a vinyl covering, but it was cushioned.
Yeah. I remember at 12 thinking, Uncle Donis.
That's the high life at 12 years old.
Bro, that was it. I remember thinking Uncle Donis would overspend. Like, man, he's overspending. He got a soft commode seat.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, my Uncle Donis, I laughed. He did run into a bunch of money and everything, and he had an old shack. He did get hurt. I remember he sued the railroad, and it was a topic. Go over Grandma saying, old Donis about to get paid. He's about to get paid, boy. And sure enough, he got paid, and he bought a satellite, put an in-ground swimming pool, and everything was chlorine. It's not as easy as the saltwater systems. Well, then about the first year, it turned green, and he didn't know how to take care of it. And of course, he did blow all his money. He just spent it all. Went and bought big red four-wheelers, and he put catfish in the pool. It turned green. He went and put channel cat in the pool. That's a true story. You could go. You swam the first year at Uncle Donis's, and after that, you went fishing. It turned. He's like, hell, I can't keep up with this thing. So he just put. Then we just fished in the pool. The peanut shape. It was a peanut. That was a peanut shaped pool.
See that. I used to tell people that in interviews because, like, if I do an interview in New York and they would go, how many people get offended by this? I said, nobody.
Nobody.
I said, because what you don't understand is if you gave rednecks $1 billion, they'd still be rednecks. They're just going to buy bigger trucks, put catfish in the pool. They don't want to be anything else. They like their life. More guns, bigger trucks, four-wheelers, you name it. But they're happy. And we were happy.
And you can tell it. Like, I've got people that were rednecks, maybe a good business adventure, could be a country singer. And I'm sure you struggle with this, like decorating. Like, you know how hard it is for me not to put stickers on everything? Or to stick up an old rack, you go build your dream home, and just to put a...
Do people get upset? I've had people get upset with me because I didn't live in a trailer. They're like,
yes.
They're like, well, crap, he's got a nice house.
I've had that recently. Well, yeah, I've had buddies that come over and like, almost like if, I don't know, there's little things.
This house is... I remember growing up, we were making fun of somebody the other day. One of my buddies married a girl. They lived in a brick house, and we used to think, they got money. They live on Lake Drive, and listen to this, their entire house is brick.
Tornado can't hurt it. They built a tornado to shelter.
I mean, I'm like, dude, you done married. You done dating a girl from the big side of town now.
We're talking about air conditioning. I remember we'd go into Manchester. Jackson, who works for us, we'd go over, and you'd go over to maybe somebody's house and go play sandlot baseball or tackle man or just a little game of ball or something. And every once in a while, you'd go into some of those friends' house in the city that lived in the suburbs, and they'd have air conditioned. And I remember walking in, and I'd see like stuff that looked classy to me, and I'm thinking, man, the Kerseys have a lot of money.
Yes.
They are rich.
Yeah.
And looking back, it was just a regular, probably 1,800 square foot house.
A garage.
A garage where the doors closed.
Closed.
Like, man, they got...
We never had a garage. We had a carport.
A port.
Yeah.
Yeah. You remember, too, it's funny, I remember my dad, we lived on a dirt road, and he was a contractor. And every time he'd have a little extra yard or two of concrete from a job.
Bring it on.
And we just had patches. You remember that? You had patches going to the drive. It wouldn't be big as your chair. Like, take that on over there to the house, over there at Woodbury, over there. I live on it. And you just do a little patch. And it just be look like a cement truck crapped all over the driveway. But it'd keep you from spinning on a wet day,
Yeah.
Golly.
I
don't know, man.
It's funny, though, like with hunting, because I went through years and years and years. It's your job, but with a cameraman with me. But that 10-year-old boy, the thing that I liked was I could go up there and whether you're sitting on the ground squirrel hunting or up in a tree, you could unload your head and you could think.
Yes.
And then you go, all right, I'm leaving that behind, but I need to take that with me. And I just got to the point, it dawned on me 7 or 8 years ago. I'm like, man, I miss that.
Yeah.
And so now it's like, I don't want a cameraman. I just want to go sit in the tree. I don't even want to pull my phone out. I just want to sit here.
That makes perfect sense.
Empty my head, because that was, we don't get that anymore.
No.
It's the devil's got to fill up every moment of you being entertained. And I'm like, no, there's a reason that God said, be still. It's like,
amen to that.
Be still.
By far my favorite, I shouldn't say my favorite verse, but the one that grounds me as an outdoorsman, because I see it all the time. We've been to some amazing, beautiful places. And that verse pops up every time.
Be still and know that I'm God.
And you look and you see the sunrise or see the mountains, or you see an animal you never seen before. And I'm reminded, one is how blessed you are to see it, but then how small we are. But you don't catch that. I catch myself now hunting, and so many times, you kind of took off guard. We don't have service to look at your phone or get a text or look at a social.
But that's a blessing.
It is a blessing. It is a blessing.
When you get somewhere and you're like, my phone doesn't work, like, good.
Yeah, I think that's why those, like Alaska trips and Yukon.
Like I said, when we were kids, we'd leave the house. Nobody knew where we were till we came home at dark.
We're going to stop for a quick break, but please don't go anywhere. We got so much to come.
A wingman flies close with unwavering dedication. At Folds of Honor, a wingman stands with families of America's fallen or disabled heroes. The burial flag given to their grieving family is folded 13 times. As a wingman, your $13 monthly donation provides scholarships to their spouses and children. 13 folds, $13. Become a wingman. Join today at foldsofhonor.org. Spandau Arms was founded with a simple idea. The best part of hunting isn't the gear, it's the memories. From the first rooster rise of the season in the tall grass to the last second opportunity on the target buck as sunset closes in. Spandau believes firearms should be built to perform, priced to be accessible, and designed to become an essential piece of your hunting story. Their lineup includes field-ready shotguns and precision-driven rifles built for hunters, competitors, and recreational shooters who know that quality and dependability matter more than the hype. Born from the experience of American hunters and crafted by generations of gunmakers, each Spandau firearm is built for real-world performance in the moments that matter.
Yeah, you bring up a good point, Jeff. It's almost like people have forgot to entertain themselves with their own mind. It's almost like maybe you as a comedian might not could ever created these thoughts probably as a young guy sitting there thinking about these redneck jokes and things that you could make maybe be the class clown because you had so much time to think. You weren't being entertained. You was entertaining yourself with your thoughts.
100%.
And it almost created more creativity in the kids and us.
That's what I worry about AI.
Yeah.
Is, where we live in an age where you could go, hey, give me funny things to talk about getting older.
Mm-hmm.
And this thing's going to spit them out for you. And you don't have to come up with them yourself. You don't have to, like you and I are just sitting here reminiscing about growing up. I'm saying things that are making you laugh. You're saying things that are making me laugh. But it's all dredged up by our memory. And my worry is that with AI, we're not going to exercise that muscle anymore. And we're just going to let it, and there's a danger. We're going to quit being creative because we don't use it, and that creativity is making something where there wasn't something. And I always say the biggest element in creativity is instinct. It's like, is this funny? Is this interesting? Is this, and I worry about that with AI. I'm like, man, are we going to lose? Because what a shame. That's one of the best gifts God gave us.
Absolutely.
His joy as a creator, it's so generous of him to allow us that joy to go, hey, there wasn't something here, and I made something where there wasn't anything. And now,
absolutely.
Now a machine's doing it.
So what are we left with as a true human, which ironically enough, all of this AI is driven off your personality, my personality, the billions of people thoughts,
yeah,
and creativity, whether it's music, whether it's comedy, whether it's anything. And now you're right. What are we left with? Are we just going to be the true zombie apocalypse to where, because you see it, I see it sometimes like we grew up in a generation where we could literally sit here for 4 hours and never run out of things to laugh at or relate to, from talking about Jesus, talking about family, talking about mistakes, talking about success, talking about, what was your favorite, show you did. Do you remember that? Your favorite hunt? And we could just go on and on. Because to put it simple, we're shit kickers. We can laugh, cut up. If 2 or 3 strangers come in, next thing you know, you sit around, black, white, Mexican, we can laugh, talk about working. Where I see a lot of the kids, like sometimes I'll try to just talk with them. I noticed it at the motocross track. I took my kids to ride 2 days just doing man things, and there was a couple younger kids, my kids' age, and I was sitting there just trying to have a conversation like we're having. They didn't know me or I didn't know them, and I noticed they didn't know how to really react or talk to me, and it bothered me.
Well, it's an art, and we lost, we've lost that because of that thing in our hand.
Oh, yeah.
Because, and if you think about it, that thing, like everything we used to go somewhere else for. Like I remember having to stay up to watch the 10 or 11 o'clock news so you see what the weather was going to be the next day.
Right. See if it's going to rain.
Well, you don't have to do that anymore. You got radar and updates right there in your hand. You don't have to go somewhere else to play a game. You got it right in your hand. You don't have to pull out a map and learn how to get somewhere because it's right in your hand. So all these things that we had to learn somewhere else, it's right there
immediate
in your hand. And, hell, you had to, if you want to know something, you had to go look it up in the encyclopedia, the Farmer's Almanac. Now it's right in your hand. And it's just not good for us.
I don't think it is.
And we quit talking to each other. You think about how many things you learned in your life by listening to your granddaddy or your daddy talking to somebody. You gleaned information that way. Mm-hmm. And not saying that it was more efficient, because it probably wasn't, but it was richer. It was more relational.
Yes.
And I think that's what suffered the most is relationships,
yes.
Which I think is why people are drawn to what you do, because to be in the outdoors, you've kind of got to unplug from that stuff.
You do.
you know. And I don't think anybody on their deathbed is going to be going, man, I wish I'd had more time to play video games.
No, yeah, nobody's saying that.
You're not. And I tell my kids, get up and go do something. Go make a memory.
Yeah.
It's not good for us as human beings. But the thing that attracted us is it's like dove hunting. You know, doves are fine to eat. They're delicious, but you can certainly survive without having doves to eat.
Yeah.
But that whole process is relational.
Yes.
You know, that's why you do it. You know, same thing with going fishing with, you know, my dad left early, but my granddaddy would always take me fishing with him. Well, that's how I learned who my granddaddy was sitting in a john boat with my granddaddy.
Yes.
And there's something really rich to that we've kind of let go of and let it float away from us. And we'd do better off if we had some of that back.
You're nailing it, because I completely feel the same. And sometimes I feel like, man, am I getting old? Am I getting to be that guy to where I'm like, you know, not that I'm sitting there telling my kids, I used to walk to school in the snow. Well, obviously I don't work. I was raised up in Georgia. We see snow. Right. We've seen it 5 times in our lifetime, but you know, in Georgia. But yeah, I do think there's something to it, because you're exactly right. I mean, I get emotional, literally almost like brings a happy joy, almost sentimental, makes me want to cry when I think about sitting on the porch. And I remember my dad's dad, have a good mess of peas in the garden. And, you know, and then I remember my dad would make me pick the peas or butter beans, but then
or
the ants,
sit there and shell them.
Oh, and the stories they would tell.
Until your thumbnail started hurting, right? Sitting there.
Yes.
Your thumbnail would hurt.
And then I didn't appreciate it as much, but I remember now the beverages. I remember, you know, back then, all the old timers, if they was taking a drink, somebody had a little Shine whiskey, but you know, Claudine would have a big old cup of sweet tea, and they'd be talking about this and kind of a little bit gossiping, but looking back, they would be talking about from God to, well, look like we're going to get on rain. You know, we ain't going to get no, it's probably our last picking. We might have shelled these. And like, well, and then you'd shell and hear the conversation, and maybe you had an uncle that could pick a little guitar. And looking back, man, I literally almost get emotional thinking I'd do anything to sit on that porch.
Dude, it was rich.
Rich. Like, it was more than being at a Broadway show, even in New York City. And I do appreciate all those things. And I think we've all went back and experienced that, you know, I remember the first time I went to the Fox Theater, I got to see you. And I remember just thinking, I was just mesmerized by the buildings and, you know, going into that legendary theater and knowing somebody that I could name drop and say, man, I'm buddies with this guy, and you and Larry, the Cape guy, or Dan and Ron, and y'all was doing this show, and I was just so proud, enjoyed it, had an amazing experience, had a nice steakhouse, and it certainly was making memories, and I was entertained. I laughed so hard that night. But then somewhere in there, I was thinking too, it's like I was still reminiscing on how special and blessed I was to come from the country. And even though I was in Atlanta, it's weird to even explain.
But it's like you. I mean, you talk about the way you grew up, which doesn't sound like much different than the way I grew up. Like, I remember the little town I grew up in, we had good baseball. We always had good baseball teams. But we didn't have good uniforms because nobody had any money. We had old, crappy uniforms. And I don't know why it stuck with me, but I remember as a kid, and we came up to Pace Academy in the big private school in Atlanta. And when we were getting off the bus, they were making fun of us because
of your uniforms.
Of our uniforms, because they weren't good. They were old, and they were making fun of us. And I remember being a kid thinking, well, you don't know nothing about me.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing you know about me is the quality of the shirt I got on, right?
Right.
And then we beat their ass like 13 to 2.
Just put it on them, son.
Got back on the bus. And then you go 30 years later, and like you're talking about, you're on a stage doing something, and people look at you and go, well, he's rich. And it's like, again, you don't know nothing about me. You're just judging me because I'm doing this. Same boy.
Same exact.
Same boy, just different shirt, you know.
That's right. You might have a nicer uniform, but you know what it was like to wear the crappy one too.
Same guy, you know.
Same person.
And if you're lucky, you get to hold on to that. You know, I remember doing an interview several years ago, and a lady said to me, okay, you do stand up, you paint, you draw, you write books, you host game shows. Which one are you? And I said, well, all them things you listed, those are things I do, and I love what I do. I wouldn't want to do anything else. I said, but who I am is I'm a husband and a daddy and a brother and a son and a person of this community and a child of God. And even though what I do may change many times, hopefully who I am stays the same through all of that.
Yes.
And, you know, there's something like you're on the doorstep of it now. And I tell my girls all the time, I said, I miss my 30-year-old body. I really miss it. But I wouldn't trade my 60-year-old mind and soul to get it back.
Mm-hmm.
Because after seeing and doing all those things, you do get to the point where you go, this matters. This is important, and this doesn't matter. I'm not going to chase that. I'm not going to argue about that. I don't need that anymore. And there is a sweet season that comes with getting older, mm-hmm. where you're like, I don't want to fight. These are the important things in life, and all this other stuff ain't important. And it's kind of nice to get to the point where you realize that, you know?
It's probably, you're right, it's a blessing, and it's funny. You're exactly right. I don't even know if I'm on the doorsteps. I've kind of walked into that door.
You're going through the doorway now.
Yeah, and it has been. And you don't realize even, and first of all, Jeff, you're so very humble. I mean, you're not, and never would even say this on this show, but when you look back on your career, I mean, you've set so many records. You've obviously provided a good livelihood for your family. Blue Comedy Collar Tour it's still up there in the top 5. It was one forever. I mean,
one of the most fun things I ever did.
And it was so brilliantly put together. Ingval, Larry, Ron, and then you look at the TV shows that you did. I mean, you know, the Smarter Than a Fourth Grader or Fifth Grader. I forget what it was. Fifth grader, which, you know, I remember just laughing so hard. But it got back to the, you know, common sense stuff. But you look at all you've done, and not did you just do it well, you crushed it. And so the way you humbly went about that, I never forget one of the amazing things that you said, and you probably remember because I'm sure you said it before, but I remember one thing I noticed when we got to where we was hunting together, we'd go into town, and I noticed everybody would always want you to bust out a joke. Mm-hmm. And I said, Jeff, man, I don't know how you do this. Like, you know, obviously you're not like giving a show back at camp, but we're laughing about everything, similar to what we're doing here. And you said, Michael, let me tell you something. You said, buddy, if you've ever put tar on a roof in the morning, it ain't that hard for me to entertain somebody at a gas station or to try to make somebody or encourage them or make them laugh. And that stuck with me because at that time frame, I wasn't entitled, but I was, you know, the hunting part, I was so blessed to hunt. But, you know, you do it starting, you know, early September, and then it's end of January, and you and I are hunting in Encinitas Ranch. Yeah. I was kind of over camera jockeying and cleaning and skinning deer, and it was easy for me to whine. But then I'm sitting there thinking, and I remember that hit me, I'm thinking, here it is, a Wednesday morning, I'm going to get paid to video and see wildlife. I don't have it bad because I could be running a bull float. I could be hanging sheetrock or putting tar on a roof.
I tell everybody, I'm 2 decisions from drywalling. If I had picked 2 other things, that's what I'd be doing today, is drywalling.
And I promise you.
And ain't nothing wrong with drywalling.
Nothing.
But I'm so blessed to be doing what I'm doing. And I used to tell them that on the set of Fifth Grader, because when you do a TV show, you got like 100 people working there. And I'm like, there ain't no griping. Somebody's doing something with tar for $5 an hour today.
Right.
Ain't no griping.
Just get the camera set up, get the lights. Let's do it again. Whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
That hit me hard because I was loving what I was doing, but I was thinking, man, Jeff, I went to bed that night thinking about that. And there was so many things, the way you treated people, and even the casual conversations of meeting people. And it was the first time I experienced somebody that had a celebrity status that I would sit there and somebody's first start, man, Jeff, of course, there wasn't no cameras back then, but you know, can you sign this hat? And next thing you know, you're over there talking about the grandkids. And I'm thinking, whatever they liked about Jeff, they really love about him because it's all real. And so many people didn't have that. And I've always wondered, like, first of all, even what you do, and you're blessed to do it, the work and the amount of betting on yourself and prayer. I mean, like you said, those early days when you moved out to, LA, that couldn't have been easy.
You may not, you may be too young, but you used to carry a little pocket calendar that had the months in it, and you'd write down what you
I still carry one there because I can't really digitally I still like that.
So I found the one from my first full year on the road, and every night I'd write down, so-and-so in Bessemer, Alabama, and how much I got paid. And so I found the one from my first year on the road. I did 406 shows.
Oh, my goodness.
And I made $8,300 that year.
So you're talking about picking up $200.
$20 a night, dude.
$20, yeah.
$20. And happy as a clam. But
get to eat for free.
And I look at that and I go, how did we stay alive? I made $8,300 a year. Well, my wife was acting. We stayed alive. She quit acting. She went and got a job for Mathis Dairy selling milk. And she probably poured in another $4,000 or $5,000, so. But, man, I always feel like the luckiest guy alive. I know where I came from. I know the quality of the people that I came from. They're good people, God-fearing, hardworking people. And I'm like, man, why did I get this life? And I've worked hard at it, but I feel like the luckiest guy in the world because I got paid to do something I would have done for free. Mm-hmm. And in the end, I'm very thankful to come out not badly scathed, where this is how I dress every day. You know, I got a rubber watch. I don't have a Rolex. Right. And I'm like, okay, I kind of held on to it, because it was rich the way I grew up, not in terms of money, but relationally, it was rich.
Yes. Did you find it awkward coming from that foundation to meet people, even probably people you looked up to, that you was aiming to be from an entertainment that didn't understand that foundation? Was that awkward as we talk about shelling peas?
Well, you'd learn to look at it and go, that ain't what makes people happy. It's not real. Mm-hmm. Man, I remember when I had the sitcom, like in the mid-'90s, and being on a lot with some of the most famous people, real famous people. Some of them making $1 million an episode. And you'd look at them and they were miserable. Right. Yelling at people, getting mad and going home every day. And I just remember thinking, pack this away. That the world will tell you recognition and fame and money's what makes you happy. Well, these people got all that stuff and they are miserable. So that's a lie. That ain't what makes you happy. And, I remember when my girls were growing up, I'd rent a plane and I'd fly home every night. If I had a show in St. Louis, I'd do the show, get on a plane, fly home, get back 1:30 in the morning, but I'd get up at 6 and I'd take my kids to school. And then I'd go pick them up from school, take them home, and then I'd go get on another plane and go to Minneapolis, And looking back, I go, crap, when did I sleep and how much stinking money did I spend doing that?
Right.
But it gave me 100 more days a year with my kids. Mm-hmm. Well, now my kids are in their 30s and they call, text or come see me every day.
Unbelievable.
So you're like, I mean, it is true. You reap what you sow. I decided, even though I've got a weird job that takes me out on the road, I'm going to do it in such a way that they're the priority.
Right.
And 30 years later, I'm reaping what I sowed. I made them the priority now. Well, they make me a priority.
Yes.
You know, so.
Now, Jules, you got that beautiful little grand boy.
Oh, golly, a grandson. Finally, a boy.
Oh, man, boy. Oh, yeah. Golly. And taking him fishing. I've seen pictures.
And all he wants to do is ride around the farm with me. Of course, I let him drive. He's just turned 5. I let him sit in my lap. He can't reach the pedals, but I let him drive everywhere. Not long ago, we were down, and he wanted to go ride the farm. We could just go ride the farm. We'd go stop at the creek and look for crawdads or whatever. And my dog loves to hang out the window. So I'm in my farm truck. The dog is here hanging out the window. He's sitting in my lap on this side driving. And I just take the two of them, just us. And we were gone like 2 hours just driving the farm. And I came back in. My wife's like, "Where have y'all been?" And I said, "I might have just had the best 2 hours of my life. You know, I got my dog that I love and my grandson in my lap, and we're riding the farm." I'm like, I don't care what it is, going to Buckingham Palace or the Tower of London or the Eiffel Tower or what. It ain't better than this.
No.
And I'm just very grateful that I realized that I didn't chase the wrong thing.
And it could have easily. We had, it was Kirk Cameron. He come on and was on the show, and similar intriguing conversation with him, because it seems even in that world of acting and big movies, I mean, you look at most of the child prodigy actors, which Kurt was one. Most of them are dead.
Dead or really screwed up.
Really screwed up. I mean, he was in that River Phoenix, Corey Feldman, all those guys.
Yeah, and you're like, how'd you come out the other side?
I know.
And not only come out the other side, a good, godly man.
Yes,
you know,
a good person. He's not chasing anything other than spreading the word of God.
Yeah.
Brilliant talent. And anyway, I think of you a lot when I think of that. Obviously, the comedy world, you look out there. And obviously, but you did movies. You were with the Hollywood actors. Did you ever find a time, and now you obviously have a farm, have you ever caught yourself wanting to kind of give some of these guys that are good people a little bit of an intervention to say, hey, you want to go look for arrowheads? Or has it ever been maddening where you like...
Yeah, most of them resist it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you know, your ego's not your friend.
No, it's not.
It's not.
Pride and ego might be.
And you even see that in the hunting business. People get...
really bad.
You know, people with hunting shows that get puffed up themselves. And I'm like, you're a guy that likes to hunt. Stop.
Stop. You know, stop. Everybody can do it.
Stop.
Like I said, you got a grandson that's 5, and it's probably not long. I know what you're thinking, like, he probably can't take my over and under 308 yet. But
dude, I was showing him last night an 8-year-old shooting a bow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, you got 3 more years, and I'm gonna get you a bow. You're gonna learn to shoot a bow. But I don't know, man. That's what I always liked about you is, you know, it's funny with all the things you hear in life. I remember being a kid and watching, it was some interview with Richard Petty. Now, I'm a little kid. Mm-hmm. And they said, Richard, what's the most important thing you've learned? He said, don't outgrow your raisins. And
that's true.
Why do I remember that 60 years later? But he was right. Don't outgrow your raisins. Don't forget the way you grew up. Know who you are. I'm that kid with a bad shirt on from Hapeville, Georgia. You know, that's who I am.
And that is you. And it's not just talk. And it's funny. I remember, was it last year or maybe it was a year and a half ago, your name come up. And I'd always kind of, you know, in the world of podcasts, we're doing one now, But I got a text from Joe Rogan. He said, man, well, you won't come be on our show. And I said, of course, I was trying to reserve myself from acting like it didn't. Well, let me check my schedule. In my mind, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do Rogan. But then one of the first things that come up, we got talking about airheads. I said, man, my friend Jeff Foxworthy, and Joe stopped and was like, dude, I've been doing everything. I've been wanting Jeff as a guest forever. And he said, but Jeff wants us to come to him. And Joe is certainly a down-to-earth guy. He's not a prick. Like, there's no doubt y'all would love each other. And dude, in that moment when he said that, and I was just sitting there thinking, God, I love Jeff Foxworthy. He's the only guy. And you look, I mean, like the episode was, he had just had Mel Gibson. He had, I mean, from all these different. Yeah, everybody. And I remember thinking, that's so Jeff. Jeff is not flying to Austin, you know, to do anything. And I remember telling Joe on the show, I said, if you want Jeff, don't call him and ask to do the show. Tell him you just plowed up a field.
Yeah, that's
exactly what I said.
Hey, man, where he lives, there's a lot of good airheads. Call me up and go, if you'll come do the show, we'll go look for airheads later on. And then you got me.
You're in Comanche country, Joe. Just tell him that you live on a place that Quanah Parker last settled and you saw a spearhead. And I said, that's it. And you can get him by happenstance. He'll probably do your show.
You don't have to pay me, but if we can go walk around the field, I'll be happy.
Exactly. Yeah. And I remember thinking like, this is so true because people, I mean, even if I'd done the show, people ask me, it's like, how much did you have to pay to be on Rogan? I'm like, it don't work that way. It's just, and I remember thinking, I don't know that anybody could pay Jeff enough to go somewhere. And I've seen you where we talking. I remember the first few times in the stand, I'm like, is Paul Abdul really hot? Is Shania Twain pretty? And you're like, what hell? We're looking for deer. We're not, you know,
all you want to talk about was Faith Hill.
Yeah, Faith Hill, Faith hot, you know. And we were laughing. And I remember there was several times you was like, yeah, man, they want me to come do this, but I'm not doing it. You know, I'm going back and I'm going to do this. Now, maybe if it was around a Braves game, you love baseball. Oh, man, that ain't work. That's fun. But at the end of the day, I remember thinking,
I turned down a movie with like Ice Cube. Mm-hmm. And they said, and it was good money, but it was I had to film it in Toronto, and it was going to be like 7 weeks of a summer. And I turned it down, and my kids got mad at me.
Because they thought it'd be cool.
Oh, they thought that was so cool. And I told them, I said, I got 4 summers left with you before you leave.
Wow. And
I ain't giving one of them away.
That's strong.
And, you know, to this day, they're like, you could have done that movie. I'm like, yeah, but I'd have missed a summer with you, you know, so.
That's right. I find it intriguing now. You're talking about me being on the doorsteps, and you've been there a long time.
Oh, obviously, I've been old a long time.
Well, not even. I mean, from a mentality of work, like I pulled up the other day and looked at your tour dates. You're still rocking and rolling, but the way you do it, you're still working. You're not retired. You have a job, but the things that you would miss out on that most people that come with a job like yours, the shiny things, or maybe it's the red carpet or getting your tuxedo.
I never go do those.
No, it's not. And I've had people that I've met, the celebrities, like, man, can you call Jeff? Ain't you buddies with Jeff? I'm like, man, honestly, if I ever run into Jeff, we're talking about deer or youngins
that's what
or
we're
you know,
about.
Jeff's been good. He's been such a good person to me. He's called me and jumped my butt when he knew I was getting out of line, and I got out of line. Again, you know, like I said, mine could have been chasing pretty women, but I think about the guys that go toward heroin or go toward, thank God, you know, for me, I never had stolen anything. I wasn't looking for drugs. I wasn't looking for anything. All I wanted, I might drink a beer around a campfire, and me, you, and Jay come up with the One-Shot Johnson Club and figure out who's going to get the jackrabbit and get the pot in the camp. But at the end of the day, in my mind, I was so, like, I ain't going to be led astray, only to realize the devil, he'll lead you down all kind of things.
Well,
and I just was intrigued with that.
That's one of the big lessons in life is, and I'm not real bright, so and it's kind of always been my thing. I get up before everybody else, and I'll sit there in the quiet and drink my coffee and do my devotional before anybody else gets up, because I know myself well enough to know once the day starts, I ain't going to do it.
That's right.
I ain't going to do it. But I remind myself every day, and man, I screw up so much, and I'm so fallible. But I remind myself, don't lose what's best chasing what's good.
That's right.
Because the devil don't make things look bad. He makes them look good. If he made them look bad, we wouldn't go that way.
That's exactly right.
And whether it's the good-looking woman or the alcohol or the Porsches, or he makes it look good.
He does.
And I just almost have to remind myself every morning, it's like, don't lose what's best chasing what looks good.
That's such good advice. I think about that too, and I'll even call their names because it was just happened like a couple nights ago. I turned on the TV and it's Tom Brady on, and obviously I'm a huge Brady fan.
Yeah.
GOAT. He's a GOAT. I mean, who can play that position like Tom Brady?
For so long. Yeah.
But then I was sitting there looking, and all of a sudden I turn a channel to, well, it's Tom Brady on again, and now he's signed back up. And I don't know how much money Tom's made, but I don't think he's broke. I don't think he's got a box fan in his window. Shouldn't be. But I remember it hit me, and I'm thinking, and then all of a sudden the next morning I get up and I turn on a Strahan, which one of the best. And I'm not knocking them. I mean, I would love to meet both of those guys because I admire their talent and what they did, and they're great at what they do. They're well-spoken. Yeah. But I remember thinking, like, when's enough? When does Tom... Is he looking for arrowheads ever? Has he ever done it? Has he ever been on a dove field? I don't know why that hit me. And I'm not slighting Tom when I say it, but I'm thinking, do you need this hosting gig?
Well, that's when your identity becomes what you do.
Yeah.
And for all of us, you know, it's like I was telling somebody the other day, and with boys, it happens early. Like you could ask a group of 6-year-old girls, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they go, well, I want to be a mom. Well, that's a totally fine answer for a little girl. You never hear a 6-year-old boy say, I want to be a dad.
No.
He wants to be an astronaut, or he wants to be a fireman, or he wants to be
ball player.
And so at an early age, we learn our identity comes in what we do.
Yes. But it takes some age to see that.
Yeah.
And then you start standing on identity. That happens in the hunting industry. People start killing big bucks. Now they're the big buck hunter.
Yeah.
And they forgot those early days of just hunting or a dove field or a barbecue and watching football on opening weekend of dove season.
And we're not what we do.
No.
You know, we're much more complicated than that.
Yeah, we're very complicated. And you're right. And here it is, as we're talking about AI. AI is taking all of that and taking it to its advantage to almost take our souls, it feels like. If you look deep, it's sad.
That's a worthwhile discussion.
It is. You know what's scary about the conversation is we talk about it, and I'm not a technical guy, but when you got the people who invented it, and they're sitting there.
The people that invented it are scared of it.
They're terrified. Yeah. When you got Elon, and I forget some of the names, but I've seen some podcasts, and I'm intrigued because sometimes if I'm cutting grass or I'm on a tractor, I'll listen to I think they're great because it's conversations like this, down to earth. But when you hear those tech guys, and
they're scared of it.
They're terrified of it. They're as scared of what they invented as me and you sitting there fishing on the pond and we see a tornado coming.
Yeah.
They see the tornado coming and they don't know if the shelter is going to keep us protected or where is the roadblocks, where is the shelters.
You know, I used to do that when I'd lease them little planes to fly. And of course, they ain't very big. And when it would get bumpy, I'd always watch the pilot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, as long as he ain't nervous, I'm not going to be nervous.
Yes.
Well, kind of like watching these people that know more about it than me. When they start getting nervous, I'm like, Jeff, that might be a good sign. You might want to be nervous about this too.
Yes. No, that's exactly right. And that's what I'm saying. When the people that invented, that fought for this or put their genius mind, because their IQ, there's no telling what it is for them to, I mean, I find it amazing that I can sit there and find an old memory on my phone and airdrop it to you. Like I don't have to have your number.
No.
But I can just there it is. Like, how did they come up with that? I don't know, but those guys are nervous.
Well, it's like the guy, I can't remember his name, that invented the atomic bomb. And then he was like,
was it Oppenheimer? And
I don't want any more to do with this. Right?
Yeah, it freaked him out.
That freaked him out.
You remember, I think it was Einstein or Oppenheimer, somebody reply with the right answer in the comments, but he said, I'm not sure, I forget what the words, but he said, I'm not sure exactly. No, I know what it was. It was like World War II had happened, or after World War II, he said, I know this, World War III will be fought this way. He said, and I'm certain that World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones.
Yeah.
Because of what they invented.
Well, all these, when they do those war games now, every single time, if one person shoots a nuclear weapon, the end result is everything's gone. Every time they do it, that's the end result. So should we be scared of that? Yes, be terrified of it.
And the beauty of kind of where we're at as men, we talk a lot about this on the road. We'll talk about, I don't know geopolitics at all. I mean, it's just above my pay grade. I understand that there's probably things, you started, and definitely love you to say it again, but none of us know the truth. I think you've been experimenting with your crowd of it's not even really a joke. But now I'm at a place to where I used to get freaked out about it, but then I'm thinking the more I read the Bible and understand faith and the true understanding and belief of where I'm going, which is going to be way better than even our experience here. I mean, this is a great experience. I hadn't had a chance to catch up with you like this in a long time. So obviously it's already a day that's made for me. A good cup of coffee. I got to tell my boy, I rode dirt bikes the last 2 days with all my sons, had coffee with my wife. I was so blessed sitting on the porch and thinking, man, now I get to go talk to Jeff Foxworthy, man. But it's going to be tenfold. And now I'm thinking, man, I hope if they do get to doing that, I hope it hits landed on my farm.
Head.
I want to
hit me right on top.
I just want to be sitting talking about, Jeff, you think this deer's 5.5?
You know what, Michael? It's funny because everybody kind of thinks, what's the key to life? What's the lesson to life? And it's such a God thing to make it simple. This is the key to life. Let it go. I mean, you're not in control of anything. Of
nothing.
Anything. Not your next breath. I was sitting there last night, sitting in the bed reading, and all of a sudden my vision got like double vision, like I couldn't read the page. And to the point I called my wife. I'm like, do I look okay? And she's like, well, you're not. Nothing's drooping. Nothing's. Can you say the alphabet? Because I was convinced I was having a stroke.
Right.
And I wouldn't even Google it because I was sure that's what I was having. And then I did Google it this morning. It says usually from dry eyes or being overly tired. Or I'm like, oh, well.
I'm fine. I'm just tired.
Yeah. But if I had been having a stroke, I wasn't in control of that. Didn't feel nothing coming on. I'm not in control of anything. But God is, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you ever get to the point where you're like, hey, what the world says about me doesn't matter. The definition of success is when the people that know you the best are the people that have the highest opinion of you, the people that really know you. And so it's a fun place to hit that. And I mean, I find myself doing that in traffic, like somebody riding my bumper or cutting me off. And I will physically sit in the car and go,
what can you do? You could just go on a tangent, start yelling.
I could get mad. You could ruin my next hour, or I can let it go.
There's nothing you can do. It's funny, man. There's a peace that comes with that. Matter of fact, it's the ultimate peace.
It is.
That's like you don't freak out. And it gets back to even what we're talking about AI and the people who fear things. I was talking to Waylon, my youngest boy. We just went and rode dirt bikes, and he was ripping up on this track. And he played baseball, made the All-Stars, but he didn't like baseball. He just didn't like the sport. He didn't. I mean, which honestly broke my heart, No,
but
I'm like, okay.
Wasn't the way he's wired.
Yeah, and so he gets out there, and he's riding yesterday. He's got a little YZ65, which you're going to probably cross into that threshold with your wife and your daughter, getting the first, next thing you know, out there with a skid steer, but I'm a little jump. Yeah. And obviously they're going to get skin up, but they get tough.
I had that little Kawasaki 90.
Man, Evil Knievel. Let me jump something. But I remember, Jeff, I was telling my son yesterday, going on, he said, Dad, I don't want to race. I just want to ride for fun. I said, Waylon, everything you did, you could easily gotten hurt. You need to understand how fun it would be to have 5 or 6 other kids. Just, obviously I don't want to get him hurt. My wife is not all big on him racing at all. But to me, it's not about the trophy. It's just the experience like we did in playing a baseball game. When you get off the bus and you got the little shabby uniforms and then just that competitive nature. And I'm not going to go as far as say it sports builds character, because I know some athletes that they don't have a lot of
right.
Yeah. Now they're tough. Maybe if somebody's picking on us in a bar and they're on our side, I hope they're there with us. But at the end of the day, but I said, Waylon, did you see me scared when you were out there riding? I said, be honest, I was a little anxious because you was doing some things I was crazy. I said, but look, overall, whether we have a flat tire going home or whatever, I said, if you don't see Daddy scared, there's something to be learned from that. And I said, because most anything that happens, we're going to get through it. Life is about a journey. It's going to be up and down. You're going to have skint. You might even break a bone, but we're going to get through it. And I said, I know you're 10. You're not understanding what I'm saying. Of course, I had Mason and McCoy with me. And Mason, he's at the age, he's 26. He's like, Dad's right on this. He said, Waylon, you experienced some of this stuff. And so overall, I guess what I've realized is there's not much I'm afraid of. I'm not sitting here saying, oh man, I'm ready to pass on. I'm not, but I'm not afraid of things. And I'm not afraid of...
Which would make you unusual in the world.
Yes.
Because everybody's got anxiety now. And I used to not understand the phrase when I was a kid, a peace that passes understanding, which means you have peace even when it doesn't make sense that you have peace.
Yes.
When I was driving down here this morning, I heard a quote, and I'm sorry, Mama, but I had to write it down while I was driving. But the quote was, have the patience to let God work out all his plans until the end, and then find fault with it if you can.
Wow.
And so it's like,
that is so deep.
The good stuff or the bad stuff. You deal with them both. That's life. And let it play out to the end, and then you either trust that it's all working together for a purpose or it's not. So if we get to the end, if you want to find fault with it, you take that up with God. But my guess is you're not going to find fault with it.
No, you're not.
And, and you and I both know this. We all like to sit there on the mountaintop. The mountaintop's really not a great place for me because I start thinking, well, it's because of me.
Yeah.
And then he goes, all right, we need to go back down the hill again. The best lessons I've learned in life are in the struggles or in the bad times. That's where I learn.
Me too.
I don't learn them sitting there on top of the mountain. So everybody's life is that way. I don't care if you're rich and famous or if you're poor as a church mouse. You're going to have good stuff, you're going to have bad stuff. But you ain't in control of a lot of it. So
you're right.
You better find a way for your soul to reconcile it with it. And for me, it's my faith. I know that it's that way for you. And
it certainly is now.
And if it's not yours, okay.
Right.
I'm not judging you.
Hey, was it ever like when you did go to LA and you've been to all the major cities, you've played in them, and you, like I said, has it ever eat at you to maybe see that something like that's missing? And I know it's your nature because you saw it in me and you've guided me through times that was dark. But at the time I didn't even see them as dark. Does that make sense?
That's our job.
Yeah.
Is Greg's, my wife has a weird name. Her name is Greg. She is a woman. But Greg's mama used to all say, we're all just walking each other home.
That's right.
But and I tell my kids, I said, all I can tell you is I walk down the road in front of you and there's a hole right there. Now I can tell you there's a hole and you'd be wise to walk around it. But if you want to walk down in it, you can do like I did and have to learn it the hard way.
Yeah.
And that's all I was doing with you is my dad had been married 6 times and I'm just saying, look, dude, I've lived through this.
Right.
This is what I know. These are the holes. These are the ways around it. And
that's right.
but that's our job to do with each other, right? That's loving your neighbor. And then you don't have, then let it go. You don't have control. They're going to do what they want to do. And if you're a hard-headed idiot like me, you're probably going to fall in the hole, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah. And you're right. What's funny about it is the hole is deep and dark, but you're right. Getting out of that hole and finding yourself is better than possibly just standing on the mountain, not making, or because I've also seen people that are pretty solid, never made a pile of mistakes. Then they get pretty hubris and they all of a sudden think they're going to be the ones up in heaven. Like, God's waiting on me. I'm going to ask God about the ticks and why he ever made them. And I'm pretty sure I've even might have been accused of saying, I'm going to ask God why he invented ticks and chiggers. But no, I'm almost certain now the more I dig into it, I'm probably going to be at his feet crying, and I'm not going to think of any of this petty stuff down here.
No, you're not. I'd ask him why he invented sex.
Yeah.
Because that's caused more trouble than anything else in the world.
It trumps money and
wars, you know.
Yeah.
People to get shot, you know.
Yeah. I mean, almost brought down King David. Even his unbelievable.
The man after God's own heart got to look over the wall. Boobs have gotten the world in a lot of trouble, man.
He's reading the Bible and praying and like, anyway, God, I just pray that, what is this?
What? Woo, look at them.
Look at there. She reminds me of Paula Abdul. You know?
Well, and none of us, you know, even the people that act like they're good, they're not.
No, we're all wretched.
None of us are.
It's unbelievable. I feel like we get up there.
Some of us just pretend more than others.
You're right.
Yeah.
Some of us pretend and maybe get caught up in it. And I don't know, man, but you've always been good. And at the time, you giving me my best advice in life and didn't even know it at the time. I'm a broke camera guy just trying to get through life. And then obviously with some of the shows, I had found my own way of the hunting stuff. And I remember thinking, like all of it I listened to because I realized that y'all had already been down paths that in a smaller way that I'm getting a chance to sample into this in the hunting industry, which is a tiny space. There's 13 million hunters that might have a license. Now, I do believe if you look into our redneck groups, I think there's probably another 4 or 5 million that's never bought one. So we probably got 20 million. Right. We got 13 registered. Right. But at the end of the day, man, you're right. And I've often wondered where now I see podcasts, I see shows. Like I saw something with Jay Leno the other day, and he seems to be a really grounded, for the most part, just a great guy.
Taking care of his wife who's struggling through dementia, yeah.
God, what a cool, unique guy, I thought. And then I, hear a story, like even like a Chappelle who blew up, but you can tell there's a certain part of him moving to Ohio to where I often wonder, and I think about that because that's just in the comedy world, or, Nate Bargatze, he's just, I think that's the way you pronounce his name, just crushing it, but reminds me of a modern day Jeff Foxworthy. He don't cuss, he's clean, and he gets a lot of heat just from being that guy sometimes, but seems like a pretty grounded person.
Whatever, let it go.
But at the same time, I always think about it, and I know you do it because you're years ahead of what you've seen as success, but the devil's after them. You can't tell me the devil ain't after a Nate. Oh, you can't tell me that he ain't trying to change our ways.
Sure is. And what got the devil in trouble? His ego, right?
Yeah.
His pride.
Yeah.
It ain't your friend.
It ain't your friend. Ego and pride is unbelievable. I used to think the pride was a good thing. It's
what makes us all. I deserve it. Well, I deserve that. I deserve that. And like, no, you really don't.
I remember thinking pride was a good thing. Do you ever? I remember thinking it was.
Yeah.
Like, take pride in that. Like, in that token, it does. But
I don't know. It gets us in trouble too.
It does. It's crazy, man. Have you ever had anybody come to your farm though that had completely alien to just man land and the stories, a good cheeseburger?
I like to have somebody that doesn't understand it and to be able to just kind of drive them around and, it's for those of us that love the outdoors. I don't think I've ever spent a day in the woods where I walked out and went, well, that was a waste of time. Or
no,
because you see something every day, a hawk chasing a chipmunk or a raccoon down in the creek, or there's always something to make it worthwhile. And there's something so cool about seeing a day come to life, to go from being dark and quiet to birds are flying and squirrels are hopping around. And it's cool to see the woods come to life. And for me, I know some people, it's the big city. But for me, that's when you look at where I fit into the grand scheme of things, that's what keeps you humble. You go, you ain't nothing. This is happening every day, whether you see it or not. God's got all this working, and that's where I feel him. I think that's why I love the woods so much. It's easier for me to feel God there than it is in a big city. That's why I never wanted to live in a city.
Or at the after show at the Grammys. It's like, you know,
Hey,
you're
I'm
right.
0 for 6 at the Grammys. I'm
You have won a Grammy though. That's
no,
cool.
0 for 6.
Are you serious? I thought you had won a Grammy.
No.
Well, I don't see how that's even possible. That's right there with Ted Nugent not being in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, probably because it's politics. But
Well, I'm sure it is.
I'm sure.
But
yeah,
let it go.
let it go. Who cares?
Who cares?
Who cares? It's cool to.
Is the body of work significant for that? Yeah.
Yeah,
A piece of metal sitting on my shelf ain't gonna make one bit of
ain't gonna make no difference.
No.
Yep. They're gonna
Something for my grandkids to throw away or take to go
exactly.
to
What is
Goodwill.
this? What's a Grammy?
Yeah. Take it to Goodwill.
What's this Gold Moon Man MTV award? What is this? You know, so you're right. It's funny. I think about that even on our mounts. I'm thinking, T-Bone and I were talking about this other day.
What's gonna happen to them one day?
That's going to be a burden. I mean, Greg's going to be like,
Your
what?
kids are gonna go, I gotta get rid of 400 deer heads.
Yeah. We can only hope it's in a Longhorn Steakhouse one day.
That's what you hope for. Well, Joby's church has got them in the bathroom, so I almost want to donate mine where they'd be over a urinal where somebody look up and go, that's a good buck.
Man, that's a good buck right there. He's 6.5. I remember they let him walk.
That's kind of a nice way to go out, right?
I do think about it like I was.
I may make him that off.
I think about that as we fight so hard to get these big animals. I was in Longhorn. Not last night.
Yeah.
No, night before last.
Yeah, you're gonna.
And
be
I'm
able
looking, and there was a moose over there. I'm like, that's a big moose. And I'm thinking, some wife auctioned this thing off at a sale.
As soon as her husband died.
And it was a booner moose. It was no doubt. I'm looking at it like, that is a giant moose. And I'm thinking.
Now he's staring at chicken fried steak.
Yeah, he's looking at the tunyon. He's looking at a tunyon like, I sure would like a bite. Like just watching people order a house salad or,
there we go.
Ranch or French dressing. God, it's amazing.
I got to go.
I know.
I got to do work.
I know you got to do work.
Actual work today.
I know it, man. Well, I can't even begin to thank you enough because I know how crazy it is.
This has been fun to me. If it was worth the drive down here just for the vinyl covered toilet seat with a little sponge, a little gift.
And remember the stench of the urine on the
rug,
shag carpet rug by the toilet.
And you had forgotten about the crocheted poodle over the spare rug.
And everybody had the black bear or the whitetail jumping over your grandmama crocheted it and made it puffed out and you hung it over all that stuff. Well, Jeff, I really can't thank you enough, not just for being on the show. I feel like I got one on Rogan, man, because Jeff come to our studio. And then second of all,
I came to you.
You came to here, man.
You can tell Joe that.
I shouldn't brag too much because literally
my farm's 5 miles down the road. I'll be on the tractor.
I can get lost at my farm and Jeff, I was lost. I didn't know I was over in your place. I didn't know I was over here. But not only thank you for coming, thanks for your wisdom, but also, and I mean this personally, thanks for always being. You never turned your back on me. You was good to me from the beginning, all the way through stuff. And now I feel like, and I'm even nervous saying this. I feel like I'm in that season of life where everything I appreciate. And you've always reminded me if I'd step out of line or in your opinion, but you never did it in a judgmental way, ever.
You're my friend.
Well, you've always treated me.
That's the way you do friends.
In the world where you was hanging with everybody, and never anything that I accomplished in my mind that I thought would bring me closer to you ever mattered. You treated me the same when I was making literally $100 a day running a camera.
You killed the jackrabbit with a bow and arrow. at the Perlitz Ranch. You had to stay up all night to do it. That's an accomplishment. To hell with an Oscar.
That's hell with an Oscar. Matter of fact, you know, the only thing I will say in closing this, Jeff, because I look back and seeing how kind you were to me, it makes me want to call your brother Jay Foxworthy and see if I can't talk him into adding maybe you. I'm not going to vouch for Larry, but I might can add you to the One Shot Johnson Club.
I don't want to be in it. Y'all denied us. Membership.
Probably
to the One Shot Johnson Club, and we formed our own Hold My Johnson Club. We ain't welcome. I don't want it.
Well, then I won't even call Jay. I'll just print more.
Yeah, print T-shirts, and we'll fight it out that way.
Yeah,
but let's go do something fun. Let's go wet a hook or shoot a dove.
Let's do it, man.
I'd fling a stick.
Absolutely, Jeff. Thank you for coming, buddy. I appreciate the time.
Always,
man.
Always.